Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the channel. Here today to discuss about AEW Dynamite, September 8th, 2021. Folks, this was a very energetic, entertaining show. Great main event with Jon Moxley and Shuzitsu, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. Let me scroll to the bottom here to that matchup. In one sec. Maru Suzuki and Jon Moxley. That was a awesome main event. Very entertaining stuff. The first match that kick-started the show is Malachi Black and Dustin Rhodes. This match was excellent. Excellent stuff here by these two guys. Dustin Rhodes may have lost, but he looked good in defeat. He did not look like a chump. He looked very good in this matchup. Solid match overall. I'd have to say he did better than his brother Cody Rhodes against Malachi Black. So kudos to him on that. Malachi Black won with a black mass. And that was pretty much it. Malachi Black's entrance was superb. Scary, dark, eerie. All the type of vibes he provides for his character, he throws into this entrance. He's also got a blackout where he gets to a certain spot and the light turns back on and you see him in another place. Very cool stuff towards his character and everything else. Excellent. Definitely an intimidating character is what he's portraying in this role that he's got. Better than the Aleister Black role that he had in NXT or WWE for that matter. Shoot, man, in WWE he was trash. NXT he was pretty intimidating, but he wasn't really all that eerie of a character that you could get intimidated from. He was kind of a guy that you can gravitate to, say, hey, he's an anti-hero type of character, like an Undertaker. But this role he's got going on in AEW is a totally different story. So definitely he's playing the heel role very well here in AEW, and he's getting over with it. I can imagine at some point he could be the TNT champion, in the next couple of years, probably the world champion. Bottom line, he's got everything going for him, character-wise and status-wise towards the fans. So bottom line, great stuff by Malachi Black. And very entertaining match to kickstart the show. Immediately following that was, I believe, CM Punk. Yeah, the Lucha Brothers were happy about what happened at the pay-per-view. They were excited that they won the tag team titles and so forth. We then see Eddie Kingston. He takes his exception to Miro cheating and says as much that God doesn't discriminate, Miro says he's going to offer Eddie's bones to his bride and his soul to his God. So, yeah. We're going back to the God stuff. A little crazy. I like, though, that they're throwing some Christianity in there. I think that's kind of cool. So between the two of them, I think that's all right. We move on to CM Punk's segment, which was entertaining as fuck, as good as the Rampage from August 20th. I mean, he was definitely on point. He was extremely happy with how he did at the All Out show. I said he did average. I think he could have done a little bit better, but being away from the ring for 7 years, I can't really be too harsh on the guy. So I got to give him a lot of credit. He did well in the match as well as he could, in my opinion. But hands down, very impressive performance by him against Darby Allin. Darby Allin took him to the limit in that match, and he came out on top. Granted, it's a fixed show and everything, but he still did a great job in dealing with the fact that he's been away for 7 years and just coming into the ring and doing this match out of nowhere. Well, not out of nowhere, but, just a one-time thing that he hasn't done in a long while and just come out and entertain a crowd the way he did was unbelievable. Next thing that took place during this segment was Taz. CM Punk was like, okay, so I had a good match with Darby Allin, and I think I don't know where to go next. So he started asking the crowd, saying, hey, where do you guys think who I should challenge next and so forth. And then Taz gets on the microphone. He goes, hey, and then CM Punk looks at him and goes, hey, don't disrespect me in the middle of a conversation with this audience. What the hell's your problem? He goes, hey, CM Punk, we know each other. We've known each other for a long time. And I don't mean any disrespect. I just wanted to talk to you for a second. And he said, well, I was talking to the crowd, but okay, you're right. We do know each other for a very long time. I'll give you enough respect to say something and put your 2 cents in, but next time don't disrespect me like this. And he goes, okay, well, you know what? I don't want to hear one word come out of your mouth that you want to face any member from Team Taz. And he looks at him like confused, like, nobody even mentioned your group. Nobody cares if I face Team Taz and any of the members of Team Taz. So it's like a psychological game. Taz was getting pissed off that nobody was really calling out names from Team Taz to face CM Punk. And CM Punk said, okay, I'll make you happy. Give me Ricky Starks. Give me Hook. Give me Will Hobbs. I don't care. As if I'll take them all on. And he started using Taz's old school gimmick that he used to do. He said, beat me if you can. Survive if I let you. That was freaking awesome. I thought that was a great segment there. Good stuff by CM Punk. And Taz was actually pretty good on a microphone too, with being upset about things, but it definitely came across that he was just, acting like a fucking jealous person that nobody was talking about his group. And that's pretty much that. Ruby Soho gets an interview, but Britt Baker interrupts. She calls Ruby the flavor of the week. Ruby mentioned that she brought Britt into the business. Ruby goes through all her other nicknames, and then Britt says she's AEW Women's Champion while Ruby sat in catering for the past 4 years. That's a nice shot right back in her face, because that's true. That's what she was doing in WWE. That got some ooze. Ruby tells Tony Schiavone, I know she's your girl, but I'm going to whip her ass. That's funny. Later on in the show, they actually have Adam Cole and Tony Schiavone have a confrontation, which I thought was pretty fucking hilarious. And pretty harsh at the same time. So next match was Powerhouse Hobbs going up against Dante Martin. Nothing special here happened. The obvious happened. Dante Martin lost to Powerhouse Hobbs. Dan Lambert's up on the top with the Men of the Year, and he runs down all the new signings as short, skinny folk. Lambert says that AEW thinks it's the hottest thing going. But that's not true. He open challenges the locker room on behalf of Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Gotta say, Dan Lambert as the heel voice piece for this group with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, I think is superb. I think the guy legitimately comes across genuine, even though maybe I don't think he means what he says. But he literally comes across like a complete asshole. If you didn't know the guy, you'd think the guy was a prick. I don't think he's that kind of person. But then again, maybe I might be wrong. I don't know the guy personally. But I don't think Tony Khan would appreciate a person saying all these things when he's got him on the show. unless to make him out to be the heel that people want to see get their ass, the heel that people want to see get their ass kicked. So that's just how I see it. I don't think Tony Khan would allow anyone who actually share these viewpoints in his promotion to say these kinds of things. So obviously this has got to be a work. But he does it so well, it feels like as if he really means what he says. So we got Matt Hardy. Wants to cut Orange Cassidy's hair, whatever, says Orange Cassidy. And then we get MJF to show up. MJF was actually very entertaining in this. He was harsh, brutally rude to everybody, to the Cincinnati crowd, to Brian Pillman's daughter and his son. And I just thought this was outrageously insane. Very, very... I don't know if you could say it's a publicity stunt. I don't know if it would give bad public relations to AEW for allowing someone to be saying these kinds of things, but obviously these people that he was talking this smack to were people that were getting paid off by Tony Khan, and they were okay with doing it, so MJF was able to get away with doing stuff like this. But, I mean, what he said to Brian Pillman's daughter in the front row was just fucking unbelievable. He went in and he said to his the daughter, he said, "So why are you so pudgy?" He started talking about how she's pregnant, how this, that, and the other. I mean, he downright obliterating the entire Brian Pillman family. Then all of a sudden we get Brian Pillman Jr. coming out with a Bengals jersey on, which, by the way, looked really nice. But at the end of this segment, it looked like a piece of shit. Not to mention there was some other things that I didn't happen to say just now, such as the fact that the sewing, it was stitched in the jersey, but there's some of the the material that sews into the jersey was actually hanging out. So it looked like it was really badly produced, made, whatever way you want to put it. And it just looked like shit. Really, it did not look like... It looked like it came from fucking China. Let's get real, okay? It did not look like the kind of jersey you would get out of a freaking Sports Fanatic or Lids type store in the mall, or, you know, going on a website to buy it, anything like that, meaning like from like NFL.com, that kind of thing. You wouldn't get that kind of, stitching on a jersey like that. I have a lot of jerseys. I own plenty of them, and none of my jerseys look like that. Hell, I even bought one for Amari Cooper from the Dallas Cowboys, and that jersey does not have anything like that jersey. It does not look anything like it. It is well sewed in and well put together. That jersey just looked like a piece of crap. And Wardlow being able to grab him and throw him around like that and rip the entire jersey from the sleeve portion of it completely apart definitely says one thing: that jersey is a piece of garbage. So that's all I have to say on that. MJF, though, before Wardlow and MJF started to beat on Brian Pillman, MJF really cut into Brian Pillman's mother, said that she was a drug addict, piece of garbage, some kind of shit like that. And Brian Pillman took that to offense. Not that I would blame him. Anyone that would say that about my own mother, I would crush them in a heartbeat. And I don't have a great relationship with my mom, but man, oh man, you say anything about my parents, unless it's me and I had the bad relationship with them, you have no right to be saying shit, because you didn't deal with them. I did. So if I have something bad to say about them, I have the right to say it, not you. But yeah, what he said about Brian Pillman's mother was just downright disgusting. And pretty hateful, pretty harsh too. He did the same thing to the sister. And I'll tell you what, man, MJF, he's definitely a guy, you know, someday that character may come to bite him in the ass someday. Because I really think he may do something like that with someone, and they may haul off and punch him in the face. Seriously. I mean, MJF at one point, I think it was last year or in 2019 when AEW was just getting off the ground, he went ahead and he flicked off a kid for an autograph. I mean, if I was a father of that kid, I would have beat the living shit out of him. I mean, it's one thing playing a heel. It's another thing flicking off a fucking kid. And me, I would have destroyed that guy. That's just downright sick. But at the same time, I can't deny I love the character because he shows no shame. He doesn't have any care. He plays the role to a T. I don't think this is really MJF in real life, man. I think he's just like Dan Lambert. He's just playing a role, trying to be a bad guy as much as possible and doing his job as the heel. And he does this in front of cameras and in front of public people. In front of his own family, behind closed doors, I don't believe he's this person. You can't be this kind of person. If he is, fuck him. If he's not, terrific. But if he's playing this role to a T as the character and he's not really playing himself, man, he's a freaking, an artist of his craft, man. Really. But he better find a fine line to play in that role, because when you go out in public and you do kind of shit like this, unless it's under a, contained environment where people that you're talking to this way are actually part of the storyline or being paid off to do it and they're okay with doing it with you, I wouldn't do that out in public, personally, because you may bump into someone that may take that the wrong way and just haul off and beat the shit out of you. And I'll tell you what, MJF finds the wrong person, he may just get that at some point. Just saying. So you may want to find a fine line of how to play the role in public. That's just my attitude on that. He also said some shit to MJF said some shit to Wardlow. He said, "Where were you during the match against Chris Jericho?" And Wardlow had a stinky face, like as if, "Are you serious right now?" Like he was standing between him and Brian Pillman. Brian Pillman could have just hauled off and beat the living crap out of this dude. And at one point, he almost let him, but he just went ahead, grabbed Brian Pillman, pulled MJ off of him, and it went from that point where he just was helping out MJF because he's paid by MJF for a salary to do what he wants. So it kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's looking like at some point Wardlow and MJF are going to break up. When that's going to happen, I don't know. The Pinnacle situation, I'm not quite sure what the hell's going on with that. I don't quite understand why the Pinnacle was not out there with him. I mean, they're supposed to claim they're a family, yet they're not even around each other half the time. So kind of makes it a little confusing, and it doesn't really stand out as a solid reality of what this faction is. So I don't know what the hell they're doing. Jamie Hayter went up against Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho won this match with no problem, and that was that. Nothing special took place there. She just wins the match and walks away victorious. Post-match, though, Brett and Rebel attack Soho, and it's Riho who comes in for the save, but Hayter hits her with a backbreaker. Out comes Statlander with a chair that sends the bad guys bailing out of the ring. Brian Cage and Ricky Starks aren't done yet. There was a vignette about that. They want one more time in the ring together, and that's basically it. Then we got a match between Pinnacle and the Dark Order. This sucks. I do not like what they are doing with the Dark Order. They are slowly but surely falling apart. Now, I don't know if this is a sign of Bray Wyatt coming to the to save the Dark Order and get them back together as a faction and be that dominant faction that they were with Brody Lee at the time. I don't know what it is. But I have a gut feeling Bray Wyatt will be the leader of the Dark Order to help get them back together and heal from what's going on within their group. So, yeah, I definitely see that as something that's going to happen at some point. Chris Spears actually wins the match for his team. He finally gets a victory after a long while of really not doing much of anything except losing match after match. Here he finally gets a W on Dynamite, so I'm very happy for him on that. I already mentioned about them fighting after the match was over, so nothing special there. We had Tully Blanchard is interviewed by Shivani. He had kind of a flashback. He says everyone just watch leadership. Tully says Sting acts like a leader, but he isn't. He wants Spears and Darby next week. That's a good match, have to admit. I think that's going to be an excellent match. And soon enough, it will be Tully and Sting one more time. I don't know how the hell Tully Blanchard would ever be able to get in the ring with Sting. That is just fucking insanity. Why in the hell would Tully Blanchard get in the middle of the ring with Sting? I mean, Sting is an old guy, but Tully Blanchard is older than him. I mean, Tully Blanchard, I believe, is like 70, somewhere between 70 to 72 years old. He's the same age as freaking Ric Flair. These guys shouldn't be wrestling. Sting eventually is going to reach to a certain point where he doesn't need to wrestle either. He's not wrestling as much as he used to, thank God. But let's be real, man. You get to a certain point, it's time to hang up the boots and call it a day. Tully Blanchard's playing the right role. Be a manager and that's it, and shut up. You don't need to be in the middle of a ring. You're not going to be able to produce anything. You can't move around as good as you used to. Get over it. Move on. Accept what you are. You're an older man. Deal with it. We're all going to have to accept that anyway. So, let's get real. Wrestling doesn't last forever. Your career does not last forever. You don't live forever. Let's just deal with it, you know? That's what I'm saying. I mean, Sting and fucking Tully Blanchard. You gotta be freaking kidding me. Jesus Christ. Alright. It's gonna be Pillman Jr. versus MJF on September 2nd. That is gonna be a fucking awesome match. Most definitely. So, we then get a segment with Tony Schiavone in the ring interviewing the Elite. Now, I gotta admit, during this segment, I was kind of puzzled by how Adam Cole seemed to be like as if he was the leader of the Elite now. He came in the ring acting like he was like part of the Undisputed Era. I mean, it was crazy. Personally, if you really want to get technical, at some point, when Kenny Omega loses the World Championship, we could always see Adam Cole be the new leader of the Elite and have Adam Cole and Kenny Omega as enemies. Kenny Omega turns into a face again, and Adam Cole is the new leader of the Elite and eventually wins the World Championship. That I wouldn't mind. I mean, they don't have to do it right away or anything like that, but eventually, somewhere down the line, I'd love to see Adam Cole become the AEW World Champion real soon, because he already looks like a main event star, and he hasn't had a match. The guy hasn't had a match yet, and yet he looks like a main eventer in AEW. That is crazy. This guy, he looks looks like a leader more than Kenny Omega does. And if you disagree with me, fine, it's debatable. I'll admit with you on that. But bottom line, guys, you can't deny Adam Cole looks like a freaking superstar. He looks like somebody that could be a leader of a group, and the Elite would be the perfect place for him. He got up in Tony Schiavone's face. And by the way, his in-ring music, I didn't mention this on the review for the AEW All Out show, but I will say here, his music is better than that piece of crap song he had after he left Undisputed Era. That was the most terrible theme song I have ever heard in my life. For him, anyway. Honestly, the best theme song he ever had was the Undisputed Era's theme song. Second best would be this one that he's got with AEW. And then the third best is the music that he had in Ring of Honor. Other than that music he had with freaking WWE when he became a individual in the NXT roster, that was trash. I mean, literally, that was fucking garbage. I can't understand how anyone could even like that music. I'm glad most people don't. I hope nobody does, actually, but whatever. So, yeah, he gets in the ring. He looks at Tony Schiavone and he says, look, I know you're besties with Britt Baker, but if you take one look at her and try to do anything with her, I will knock your glasses clean off your head. So he was not being nice to Tony Schiavone whatsoever, and Tony has done nothing to Britt Baker to give him that idea. Outside, he was just being a fucking flat out being a prick. So he says, now get the hell out of my ring. As if he owns the freaking ring. And he goes ahead. He says, "What? Just get out of here, dork. You nerd. Get out of here." I'm like going ahead and I'm saying to myself, holy crap, I feel like I'm watching D-Generation X from the 90s, man. They're treating freaking people like garbage, calling people the nerd. All they need to do next is start giving the DX chop to the crotch, and that they got it all sealed and delivered, man. But I think they're a little bit more original than that. I mean, they come across like a DX NWO type of faction, and they're growing. I mean, they're continuously growing. They feel like the NWO almost. But NWO is just way too big of a faction, which I don't understand why the hell they did that. That was just plain nuts, which I think killed the entire NWO gimmick to begin with, but whatever. So, following all that, Adam Cole, he did his talk. He said, look, you got me and the Elite, you got the Young Bucks, the greatest tag team in the world, and you got AEW's world champion being the absolute best in pro wrestling, and then you got me, Adam Cole, baby. And it was pretty freaking cool, man. I honestly like Adam Cole better than Kenny Omega. And that's crazy for me to even say, because there ain't no doubt about it. Kenny Omega is one of the best wrestlers in pro wrestling today. But Adam Cole, he's got it all. He's got the personality. He's got the cockiness and the in-ring ability. I mean, he gives everything to the character Adam Cole, and he plays it out to the max. He's excellent. And he finds that really, fair, heel-like role where he's not being too offensive to people, but at the same time, he's showing that he doesn't like the crowd. I think maybe that would be something MJF should take on, but then again, I guess leave it as is. Don't fix something that doesn't need to be fixed. But I'm just saying that simply because of the fact he may come across someone someday, piss them off, and get something he don't want, and that's a fucking black eye or worse. So, I mean, especially with today's society being the way it is, I wouldn't want to deal or talk with much of anybody. So, that's why I keep to myself. But, personally, I think that this was an excellent promo. We got Kenny Omega on the mic afterwards. Cole does reveal that he's going to have an in-ring match debut in AEW. Kenny grabs the mic, and it seems that the celebration is in order. He hates interruptions. Interruptions, and before he can finish, he's interrupted by Bryan Danielson. Holy shit. Oh my goodness. So, Bryan Danielson is standing in the middle of the ring with Kenny Omega. Folks, I don't know if you see it coming, but I do. I don't think we're getting Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega at the September 22nd episode. I think it's going to be Bryan Danielson. I think we're going to see these two in the middle of the ring. And bottom line, I think we're going to see a barn burner of a match. I don't think Bryan Danielson's going to win the title. I think Kenny Omega is going to retain, and I think he's going to keep that title until Full Gear when he loses it to Hangman Page. I think that's when Hangman Page is going to be able to make his return, and he's going to try to get the title from Kenny Omega in a one-on-one match in the main event. So that's how I feel on that. I don't know how you guys think, but I definitely feel that we're going to see not Daniel Bryan, can't call him that anymore because that ain't his name. That's the WWE slave name. Bryan Danielson is the guy that we're going to see at September 22nd's episode for the World Championship. And I think we're going to get a hell of a match. Not that Bryan Danielson's going to win. If he wins, I'm going to be surprised. Because I don't think that's the right decision. I think the right guy is Hangman Page. We need to crown a youngster as a world champion. Hangman Page is the right guy. He's the end goal of the entire storyline with Kenny Omega. These two guys had a severe issue with each other. Number one. Number two, they both were both a great tag team together, despite their differences. And I think Hangman Page would be the right person to take that title off of from Kenny Omega. So that's just my attitude and feelings on that. But if we get a match between Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson for the world title at September 22nd's episode, I'm all for it, 100%. So as long as Bryan Danielson don't win, I will have a problem with that. But outside of that, I have no issues with that whatsoever. We do have a brawl that takes place, and this led to Jurassic Express and Christian Cage to come out with Frankie Kazarian to clear house as Adam Cole brawls with Jungle Boy. Brandon Cutler soon finds himself alone in the ring with the good folks. And Bryan nails the running knee on Cutler to end the segment, and main event is the next segment on the show. During this brawl, just before everyone got in the ring, Bryan Danielson went ahead and put Kenny Omega in the Bella Lock or the Yes Lock, whatever way you want to call it, and made him tap out instantly. That's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy shit, but then again, it was just an unsanctioned match where he went ahead and made him tap out. The next thing on the card was the main event. That was Jon Moxley and Minoru Suzuki. I think I'm pronouncing the first name right. If not, I apologize. I am very aware of Suzuki. He is a great in-ring performer from New Japan Wrestling. This guy has done some awesome stuff. Usually he is tagged with Zack Sabre Jr. I believe that's how you pronounce his Zack Sabre Jr. If I'm mispronouncing the last name, I apologize. It's been a while since I've forgot how to pronounce his name, so if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. But yeah, these two guys, and Sabre Jr. is actually a great in-ring technician wrestler. Does a lot of submission holds. Usually he wins his matches by submission, not by pinfall. And if he does win by pinfall, he wins it by a unique way of winning it instead of just a normal little roll-up or what have you. So This match, I gotta give credit to both of these guys. They busted each other's asses. Suzuki actually walked away with a severe cut on his, believe it was near his eye, and he managed to finish the match, thankfully. But overall, good stuff. Very good stuff. Very entertaining. Jon Moxley wins with 2 paradigm shifts. The last one he hit, it looked more like a double arm suplex. Instead of him landing his opponent on his head, he landed on his back, which I thought was a little, not as effective as the first one. First paradigm shift was excellent, but the second one just seemed a little bit weak, in my opinion. But whatever. The match itself, though, was not bad at all. It was a good main event. Fun stuff. And I enjoyed this show very much. It was a nice post-show to AEW All Out. And I'm looking forward to next week's episode, especially with MJF's match. I mean, this is going to be a pretty damn awesome show. Full Gear is looking like it's going to turn out to be really good. I mean, every pay-per-view practically seems to turn out well with AEW. So I'm not going to complain. Bottom line, I've enjoyed everything AEW has done from its inception. They have done a great job. They care very much about the product. They care about their customers. They care about the audience, and they want people to have fun. They want people to enjoy themselves for a while and, have some kind of enjoyment in life, and not sit there and be bored out of their minds after they spent loads of money on a freaking ticket to sit there and watch garbage. They give people good quality television to, for 2 hours and give them some time to enjoy themselves. I mean, they're spending all that money, you might as well give them something that they enjoy. And AEW delivers on that. And that's what it's all about. It's about caring about the people that go out there, support your product, and show care right back to them. That's what life should be like. We should all care about each other. And, that we don't get very often in this life. So, bottom line, when I see AEW caring about its audience like myself, being one of them, I support something like that because they deserve it. WWE don't deserve anything. The only thing they deserve is a swift kick in the ass and be told to get the fuck lost, because that's what they really deserve. They suck. And I'm pissed off that WWE's like this, because if they were at all interested in competing, we'd actually get good television on both shows. People would have a hard time trying to choose. It would be fun, entertaining to even remotely have any care in both shows at the same time. It would be difficult to do. People would be going ahead and practically, going, which show should I watch over the other, But things being the way they are, the way they're scheduled, they don't overlap each other, so it would make it a little bit easier for everyone, and we'd have wrestling every single day of every week. Though that would be a little bit of a crammer for everybody's brain to have to deal with all that. It's a lot of wrestling to watch. But at least we'd have something worth watching if we had WWE giving a shit about the fucking product. But then again, when you really think about it, if WWE cared about the product, we would have all these guys that are appearing on AEW wanting to perform for WWE. WWE would be the king of pro wrestling, but they don't want to be the king of pro wrestling. Hell, they're not even the king of sports entertainment. They couldn't entertain a freaking fucking Rock somewhere. I mean, seriously, man. This company is so fucking lame, it's pathetic. That's why I come on here every single day and I cover other shows besides WWE. I can't do it, guys. I really can't. But, like I said before in my last video earlier today for Impact Wrestling, I'm going to say it right here. If you guys didn't watch Impact, my Impact review for September 2nd for the 2021 September 2nd show, I'll say it right here. I am going ahead and I'm going to be doing a parody of Vince McMahon being interviewed by me. Me doing both my own voice and Vince McMahon's voice. So tune in for that. I will be planning out how I'm going to ask the questions and so forth. And then I will go ahead and be able to give answers as Vince McMahon. So it should be a lot of fun. It'll probably be like about a minute to 3 minutes long, and you'll really enjoy the ending. Trust me. Anyway, guys, I thank you again for watching. Hit the like button if you liked the video, of course. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel, and leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.